As you may know from my profile picture, I love Transformers Age of Extinction. AOE was the first Transformers media I've ever watched, followed by 2015 Robots in Disguise. Admittedly, not the best movie, but it did give us some great looking figures. Never actually got any of the figures back then, but years after the movie, I finally got one of my holy grails. And it feels like crap. If I'm not mistaken, Hasbro, who received a bunch of complaints from parents regarding the previous Dark of the Moon movie toy line being too complicated, decided to make the newer Age of Extinction toy line simpler and also cheaper. Why? I don't know, I'm too lazy to research. And due to that, Octane Bumblebee here doesn't feel great compared to the toys made in Japan during that time, or newer figures. I used to own a knockoff of a I used to own a knockoff of an upscaled Age of Extinction Stinger, and that felt better. You can tell how cheaply this figure is made because his forearm guards just unplugs and not glued. Granted, I did buy this used, but I don't think that factored to how this feels. Despite the plastic not being great, this figure is actually pretty good. It isn't accurate to the design in the movie, but it captures the feeling of the design. Really wish Bumblebee kept the high octane alt mode throughout the movie, because the alt mode looks really good. No hate to the yellow Camaro, but I don't know if that design fits. It looks better in red, and as a Pagani, one of the main reasons I really wanted this figure is the alt mode. I don't give two f**ks about cars, but this car specifically looks really good. I mean, Bumblebee is not even my favorite character, but for some goddamn reason, I have 6 of them. Bumblebee just have really good alt modes. Here's Stinger as well. You might notice the weirdly painted roof and back bumper. Again, bought this used. While I did somewhat try to fix the black paint on the roof with a marker, it doesn't look the best. And also, I just left the yellow bumper like that. Yellow is really hard to paint, especially on black plastic, but somehow the paint Bumblebee has looks great, and it even matches the plastic color. The Autobot symbol looks crisp and somehow doesn't look out of place. The car rolls pretty well, which is nice. For the figure's transformation, is about the same as almost every movie Bumblebee figures, but a lot more simpler. The whole roof of the car is made out of clear plastic, which sucks, but for some reason, I'm not worried of breaking it because of how solid it becomes once it's in robot mode. The thing that makes the transformation unique against other movie Bumblebee figures is that his hood opens and becomes his collar, which is really cool. More Bumblebee figures should do this. Unfortunately, it's quite difficult to tap the front of the bumper into the square hole. I'm scared of breaking it. Should have been designed better in my opinion. And in the end, you get a really sick looking robot mode. The painting is okay, but the sculpting is really good, and he is really solid, except the doorway. But most Bumblebee figures are like that, so it's fine. Love how they integrated the back to make it more natural. The Studio Series backpack is flimsy in comparison. I also really love his head sculpt, and I prefer this over the Studio Series head. For some reason, it's painted black. The eyes are also painted blue, which covers the light piping it could have had, because half of his head is transparent. I would have much preferred if they leave the eyes unpainted for the light piping and use the budget to paint his face silver instead. Since this is a 2014 figure, he has some missile launchers. Oh my god, I missed. You don't get gimmicks like this on newer generation lines. Really wish they kept the gimmicks. No, this does not count as a gimmick. The gun is sculpted right on the hand, so you can't remove it. Kinda wish they sculpted it to look like his gun in the movie, but this is fine. Weirdly, the legs are hollow. You're meant to lift the kibble on the back to fill in the gap, sort of, but that would have hindered with the articulation. Head is on a ball joint, wings can flap, the shoulders are ratcheted, so are the more than 90-degree elbows. Why? I don't know. Arms can rotate, arms can swivel, no waist swivel, legs can move forward and back, legs can spread, thighs swivel, less than 90-degree knees, and that's it. Despite the articulation not on par with modern figures, this is still a really fun figure. Despite being taller than the new Bumblebees, he looks good next to them. And Stinger, they even re-released him as a Studio Series figure in a 2-pack with Studio Series Stinger because of how good he is. But still, this is not perfect. If Hasbro and Takara are able If Hasbro and Takara are able to remake Bumblebee movie Bumblebee, say that 5 times, they could make a more accurate and a more articulated high-octane Bumblebee. If you really want a Bumblebee from the 4th movie, I highly recommend y'all to find and get this figure for a reasonable price, of course. I'd give this figure 1 toes out of 5 toes.